Hello, welcome to my Daily Life Hero podcast. You're meeting your host, Rachna Khanna, and I'm so excited for today's podcast because it is going to be amazing. First of all, I just want to acknowledge all of you. Thank you so much for showering your love on the Daily Life Hero podcast. It means a lot. I really encourage each one of you, whosoever have subscribed, please make sure that you share with others. There is a huge possibility there is someone out there who's waiting just to be touched, moved, and inspired. You have no idea. There are so many people who may not even talk about what they're going through in a daily life. I meet these people on a daily basis. I would really request you to please go ahead and share. There's a huge possibility a person need this. What I am doing it is absolutely from an inspiration from myself and the people that I get in touch with on a daily basis. There is so much love that is needed. It hurts me when I am not able to do it the way people want it. And this is just one opportunity for me that I want to touch, move, and inspire with the help of my guest over here, with the help of people around me, with the help of all of you who can just do this. Just make sure this is my mission, and I want to touch, move, and inspire 1 million people. It is very important for me, and you can be a part of this goal. I would really be highly grateful if you can just this share any snippets, any podcast, tell them to just subscribe to it. You never know, you would be helping someone out there. I was one of them. I did not know where to go, but there was one such person who said, just go ahead and try this. And I did. And I'm here, I'm on the other side. And I cannot contain this gift with me. I want to share it with everyone. So please go ahead, do me a favor, hit subscribe and share it with other person who may need this. So I'm super, super grateful for you doing this and listening to this. Now, coming to our guest. My guest is superwoman, powerful. She inspires me on a daily basis. I fall short of words when I look at her. She has that amazing charm. She has that amazing inner child in her that sometimes comes out, sometimes becomes a woman, and sometimes just sparkles the magic around. She's powerful, she is courageous, she is brave. Sometimes I wonder what it would be if people get in touch with her and that kind of magic they feel. They feel the love, they feel the passion, they feel the compassion. I'm absolutely hooked on to my guest. She's beautiful, she's gorgeous, and I can go on. I can go on talking. And you would know why I'm talking about this woman, this superwoman who inspires me on a daily basis. So let's put our hand together and welcome our awesome guest, and that's Rashika Chandra. Uh, ta-da!
Oh, wow.
Rashika,
That's a
how are you?
beautiful introduction. Thank you, Rachna. I'm deeply touched.
Yeah, you deserve so much more. This was just a tiny bit. I can go on, but thank you. Thank you so much for saying yes. Thank you so much for joining me on my mission. And thank you so much. I really appreciate and I'm truly grateful to you what you do in your area because I know people just love how you come out as such a passionate and superwoman. So thank you for doing who you are and what you do and how you serve.
Thank you, Rachna. I love what you shared and thank you. I'm so inspired by you as well. I love the work you do. You're a truly inspirational person for me too.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Awesome. I'm so excited. I cannot contain our episode today because I know it is going to be so much more than just a podcast because I know our listeners are going to enjoy you. They are just going to enjoy what snippets, what gold nuggets you're going to share with us. That's what makes life beautiful. So I just want to play a song for us so that we can just dance and get into the groove. Are you ready?
Always ready.
Yay, awesome. Let's play this song. Where is it? Here we go. back to you. Thank you. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Rashika. So, one more time, welcome to my podcast, The Daily Life Hero. And I'm so happy that you said yes and joined in my mission. Is it okay if
Thank
I start asking questions?
Sure, go ahead, Rashna.
Yeah, I would love to hear. I know it, but I want our listeners to know about you. Tell us your journey. Tell us who you are. What is it that you do? And what are you passionate about?
I am a transformational life coach for women.
Mhm.
My coaching is focused on women who know they deserve more in their life. My mission is to ignite their inner power that shows up in both their personal and professional life. So these are super women that I want to inspire and bring out and help them be heard, seen, and understood for who they truly are.
Mm.
And they know who they are.
Oh, I love that. I absolutely, and I'm sure the woman that who will be in connection with you, she is going to get her superpower. I just feel it. I just feel it in my body just by speaking to you. So thank you for you what you do, and I'm sure our listeners would want to know how do you offer these services, what are your social media, and everything. Of course, we will share towards the end of our podcast and in our write up as well. But it is lovely. Can how can they be in touch with you? What are the ways? What are different ways they can be in touch with you?
I'll share with you my social media handles and my Calendly link where they can book in a free session to find out if we are a match to work together.
Yeah.
So that will make it easy. I can share my email address if that helps.
Yeah, of course that will help. Thank you so much, Rashika. So now, thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm sure our listeners will be very grateful after reaching out to you and having that discovery call. So I now want to know you. I want to know Rashika Chandra, how her journey changed. Can you take us back in time when you were not this, when you were different, when you were going through your severity of anxiety and depression? What was that time? How did that look? What was going on?
Yeah, that was like a dead end.
Mm,
When you hit the wall, it's like there is no way ahead. Where am I going?
mm,
And that's when I discovered how I can help myself.
mm,
When went on the journey to discover about life coaching.
mm.
But before I go into that, you wanted to know how it feels.
Yes.
Literally like a dead end where you're like lost and you feel helpless. You feel you can't change your life. You think this is it. You accept your circumstances.
Mm,
Oh, I accepted my circumstances that this is it. This is the story of my life. I
mm,
am feeling anxious. I'm scared. I don't know how to go forward in life. I was losing people around me. I didn't know how to help my own son. If I can't help myself, how do I help him? That was my biggest fear.
mm.
And that was my turnaround too.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep. Is it okay if I ask you related question? You just mentioned you have a son, and I know I have a daughter who is 16 years old, and sometimes they just show up and you feel, "Oh my God, is this who I want them to be?" Was it ever in your timeline? Did it ever occur to you what is happening? What is happening in my home? What is happening to my child? Or your child asked you a question, what is going on, mom? Are you okay?
Yeah, absolutely, Rashna. Ever since my son was born,
Mm,
I was asking myself that question all the time. What am I doing for this life that I've created?
mm,
That is a gift for me from the universe. I kept asking this question. My son is going to be 18 this year. And I've been
Wow,
asking her,
18.
yeah,
You
absolutely.
just look 25 years old to me. Sorry, I had to say that.
Oh, like always, always. It's the way I feel inside is what
Yeah,
reflects on the
of
outside.
course. Yeah,
So as long as I feel I'm fun, I'm joyful, I'm everything I can be, age is not going to stop me.
of course. And that's the power you have, right?
Yeah, nothing outside me dictates or tells me how I am going to feel, how I'm going to be. So
Yeah,
that's the reason why I show like this.
absolutely. I get it. So tell us the time that you would just, I'm sorry, I just got digressed because you just mentioned he's going to be 18. I'm like, whoa. And I just want to know, okay. So I want to ask you, I know if this is something that brings up some emotions for you, so let me know because I just want to hold space. What happened? At what stage did you realize that this stops now? What was that moment in your life that you took that decision that no, it's not happening?
That decision was a big decision when I hit depression.
Mm,
So I lost someone I dearly loved,
mm,
which was my grandma. She was like my mother. She was my mother who raised me first 3 years of my life. So as a child, as a baby,
mm,
I thought she was my mom.
mm,
And 2021, she passed away.
mm,
And I didn't get to spend time with her all my life because I was given back to my parents. I didn't understand the love and connection I had. I was told multiple times that she raised me, but I didn't understand the connection and the love I shared with her until she was gone.
mm,
So
mm,
here I was dealing with her, my loss, and she
mm,
was gone.
mm,
And I have a child that I need to raise, and there was COVID. A lot was happening with me, and I hit the wall that I talk about. It was very difficult. I didn't know how to express myself. I didn't know who to talk to, even though the world, every time you hear everywhere, are you okay? That depression is something, that anxiety is something. I didn't know all that.
mm,
I thought I knew, but when I started discovering myself, when I decided I want to help myself, when I decided I want to change things, when
mm,
I said, my son needs me, I need to show up for him,
mm.
I started discovering myself.
Wow.
That's the time I started discovering myself when I said, I'm just going to exist for him
Mm,
because I feel like everything that I wanted or everything that was meant for me is no more. I have no desires. I don't have anything left in my life. I want to just be showing up for my son because he needs me.
mm.
That's when I started discovering me.
Wow. That's huge. That is huge because I don't know. I'm feeling loss of words right here that having a life in front of you and then thinking from a perspective that this is a life that I want to inspire, I want to live for, and I want to give more. And that hurts. And that hurts. How did that happen? Tell us everything. How did that happen? What was the journey? What journey looked like for you? Because I know that I have been there in depression and I have been there face anxiety every day where I had to be in the emergency and doctor asked me, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Really? Do they have to ask this question?" And I did not know what to do. I
Mm.
get that. It's hard. You don't understand what is going on. What was your journey like?
Absolutely. So here I was during COVID,
Mm,
lost my grandma, was the only person who unconditionally understood and loved me.
mm,
I do have everyone around me, my family, my friends, relatives, but the
mm,
connection I shared with my grandma was
mm,
different. It
mm,
was just like one connection that you share. And here I was, I'm a single mom
mm,
and stuck alone in COVID and lost my grandma. So I during this time, this was the most difficult time of my life when I had to face my own self.
right.
Face what has been my life about.
Mm,
And because of this loss, I was able to find my deeper insecurities, my deeper issues that came from my childhood.
mm,
So I grew up in a DV home My parents are beautiful, absolutely beautiful. They did the best they could.
Mm,
But the truth is that as a child, I had a lot of traumas in my childhood in a DV home, mentally, emotionally, physically violent environment, did a lot of damage, did a lot of damage. And being facing that abandonment issue at 3,
mm,
where I was raised first 3 years of my life thinking my grandma was my mom and given back to my parents, I felt abandonment issues. My whole life shook. As a child, I didn't know where my safety was. The person I had security was gone. She gave me back. She doesn't love me anymore. She abandoned me. So these sort of issues as a child, I came across. And then I grew up in a DV home where, yeah, emotionally, mentally, physically, there was a lot of parts of me that was suppressed.
mm,
I didn't know how to express myself. There was a lot of fear to speak my truth, to be myself, to feel all these emotions. Everything was blocked because as a child, we have so many filters that we need to learn and express. And we need to feel all this in a safe environment to develop ourselves.
mm,
And I didn't have access to all that. And here I was during COVID, lost this person who meant so much to me,
mm,
going back to my childhood. Bits and pieces came up. I didn't do the entire work then.
mm,
But then I decided I don't want to live this kind of life. I want to do more. There is something more for me.
mm,
So I then changed my career, which I spent 15 years in,
mm,
studied, invested, and I said, I want to help people. I started
mm,
looking into life coaching because I used to watch podcasts of Jay Shetty, Sadhguru, Rob Dial, Mel Robbins. These were all very inspiring people, but I never thought I could be one of them or do something like that or be part of that army that is helping the world. And here I was, like, now I'm going to look into it. So I started looking into it, and then I found the coaching world, where I found, I can say I found like everything. It feels like I found everything. A
mm.
lot of answers came. I found out about how I can heal my childhood trauma. I started helping other people. I started studying. I met so many beautiful friends, yourself too.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Yeah, and I started doing and so much that I thought I want to give back and do. But on this journey, I started finding more and more of myself. I discovered more of me.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. You know what I'm hearing, and I'm curious and to know that when you started knowing you, was it, how did your child feel at that point of time? You know, what were the changes in your relationship? How did it change? What?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. The transformation, my relationship with my son
Mm,
has been, it's amazing. From just being a teenager, just sharing a couple of things together like movies or stuff like that. Now we go into deeper conversations. He is able to share. I'm not going to declare anything here because he might not like it,
yeah,
but
yeah,
he can
yeah.
basically share anything about his life. I am like his best friend,
Yeah. Wow.
first person to go to. And we are gym buddies.
That is
We are gym
awesome.
buddies. Yeah. And yeah, I basically am able to hold that space for him, the safe space that he wants,
Wow.
and share anything that he wants to.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing, Rashika, is when you found you in the process, of course, there was a time, there was a wall that you hit and you said, this is not helping. And then there was your child who was right in front of you and you wanted to do so much more for your child. And then, of course, you were listening to various podcasts, to people who inspired you. And there was something that ticked, and you found ICI and you worked on yourself. And you mentioned something that 2021 was the year was so tough for you because you lost someone who, in the process of knowing and being in love with them, you also felt abandoned. And that's when you realized that there were childhood traumas as well. And you worked on them. And because you worked on them, your connection with your child is blossoming with gym buddies. He shares everything with you. And that's amazing. And basically, why I'm so amazed and why I'm so happy I'm talking right now, that I want our listeners to know that there is a magic in going inward. When you go back and connect with yourself, it is magical. So, my question to you would be the beginning of your healing journey. One, of course, it definitely changed relationship with your child. What is that moment you realized for yourself that you needed something for you in the process of healing journey?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. This is a year ago.
Yes.
There was a very long period of healing, I
Mm,
remember.
mm,
And every time, initially when I started, I realized that I wasn't able to express myself.
mm,
A lot of stuff that happened inside me stayed inside me.
mm, mm,
And my son doesn't get to have that proper communication. But I am inside me, I'm doing everything I can. But on the outside, it's not coming out.
mm,
Why is it not coming out? So when I started my healing journey
mm,
with the beautiful coaches that I worked with,
mm.
I realized that I'm able to communicate more. And instantly he was able to see mom's changed.
Wow.
And
Mm,
he was able to, as I started expressing, he started also expressing himself. It's not that our life is perfect. We have a lot of work to do. Life is all about light and dark, but it's how you deal with it.
yes.
He also has a lot of stuff that I'm helping him with, and our life isn't perfect, but
Wow.
we know how to navigate through life.
Yeah.
And on the daily basis, we're working on ourselves. How
Mm,
do we navigate through life? So most important thing was that I learned to communicate with him. I learned to express myself. As I started expressing myself, he started doing that.
mm,
And I also got him in touch with a coach so he can get help as well
mm,
where
mm.
he wants to go. Because everybody suffers some kind of childhood trauma.
Yeah, of course.
Just
Yeah.
not aware of.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so beautifully said. And I absolutely appreciate that when you said life is imperfect. Everybody has to work hard, and there is no one who have not had childhood traumas, because there have been some, and trauma is not only related to abuse, and I keep clarifying that it does not have to be an abuse. Trauma is anything which is unprocessed emotions, anything that you were unable to express. And as you mentioned, and I love that when you mentioned that, because that goes to show that how deep have been your journey, that you understand that I understand the moment you realize this is what I want to do, the internal work, and your son gets it. And you said, Mama, you have changed. This is beautiful. I absolutely love it. Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Now, what was your, not your specifically, but how was your support system? What was your support system looked like at that point of time when you were going through your healing journey, when you had that bottom low moment? How did the support look like? Your family, your friends, support groups, if any?
This is the most important part. This is the reason why I am doing what I'm doing.
Mm,
And what I will be doing and where I want to go is that no matter how much in the world we say, express, there's these mental health issues, people are not being heard, seen, understood. As much as we talk about, oh, that person's going through something, but really, if we look at the real truth, nobody really pays attention to people unless they have dealt with their own shit inside, which is their own traumas, because you can't see that person. What I went through was that people say there's no mental health stigmas and there's a lot of support and people understand. To be honest, people just say they understand. People don't really understand. And people who really will understand will the people who have done the work.
yeah, true that.
If
Yeah.
you haven't done the work and you're someone who's so concerned about the image, you will not see that person.
Mm,
Even if you see it, you will not want to understand. So the harshest truth that I went through was that when I had this depression, anxiety that came out to the peak, it was absolutely crippling my life. What I had from people around me was, Yeah, things are going to be all right.
Oh, that hurts.
You're fine. You just don't worry about it. Just keep working. Make yourself busy. Or I was seen as someone who was having, I don't know, tantrums.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What was actually happening was what people saw was something else because people don't understand what is depression, what is anxiety.
Mm,
So I didn't get any support, any help. To
mm,
be honest, I did not. When I hit the dead end, I wasn't accepted. I
mm,
wasn't accepted for what I was expressing. It wasn't accepted. You're not allowed to feel that way. That's not true.
mm,
Or, yeah, it's okay, you'll be fine. Or
yeah.
people just hear and not that I am having a go at people. What I'm trying to explain is they don't have the tools. They can't understand what you're going through if they haven't gone through that same thing or they have suppressed it, saying, yeah, I went through depression, I went through anxiety, but that's something that you go on with. No, you haven't dealt with it. You just put it aside. It's showing up in other parts of your life. It may show up in your relationship, may show up in your job. When you go downhill again, what is that? That is what that comes up. But what you do is you suppress and you keep moving forward. How far are you going to go? Are
Mm,
you really, truly, honestly happy? Are you telling yourself the truth? Are you telling other people the truth?
mm,
That's what I faced. I didn't get help because I was not understood.
mm,
I was,
mm,
in fact, misunderstood. And
mm,
then when I started doing the healing,
mm,
I was interpreted as a different person, that you're no longer the same person. You
mm.
don't love, or because when we change, we are misunderstood.
Wow. I'll give a minute for listeners to this sink in. Wow. That was deep. And I get it, Rishika. I get it because your support system has to sometimes, as a person who is healing, you don't need solutions. Like you said, all you want is someone holding space for you and not telling, oh, it's gonna be all right, like you said. Oh, it's okay, you will grow up with this. That's not what we want to hear. And rightly mentioned that it's not their fault because they don't have the tools. They are doing what they have been through, which is distracting themselves, suppressing their emotions. And when they went to their support system, that's what they got and that's what they're giving. Yeah.
Absolutely, Rashmi. They're doing their best.
Mm,
They're doing the absolute best.
mm,
But that best wasn't best for me. I
yeah.
challenged myself. I went deeper. I literally broke down every piece of me inside me to reassemble myself. But
Mm,
that's what I chose. That's not what everybody else chooses. But when you choose that, you get to be the new you.
yeah,
You
absolutely.
find, you find your truth. That is so important.
Mm,
Find the truth. Because when we do that, we help the next generation. We stop the cycle. We change ourselves, and the next generation changes, and the people around us change. Because when we change, they can see the change too. And they question themselves, what is it? Why is that person behaving like that? What is this about? And I keep living my truth, and I can see the changes that's happening around me.
yeah. Mm, mm. So true. Wow. So would you say that, would it be okay to say that support is crucial, it is important, but it does not help if they keep doing what they have always been doing it, which is suppressing, distracting, and because that's what they have, that's what they give it to you. And that support system does not help us to move forward. That support system is as good as not having someone who understands you or holds space for you. Would that be right?
Absolutely. So what happens is that support system is ruled by the image, ruled by shaming because that's not accepted, ruled by control,
Mm,
And when we want to do the inner work, when we want to heal ourselves, when we want to grow, all those things does not help.
Mm,
That is suppressing. That is the reason why we are here trying to do this. That's the reason why I was there doing it. But because of the cycles, the
mm,
repeated cycles in the tribal system,
mm,
that's the whole reason I'm there. So they cannot support that.
mm,
They
mm,
don't have the tools.
mm,
And finally, you got to understand and have empathy for them that they don't have the capability to do that for you. So
mm,
you have to move on and find out what is it out there that you can align with, the people who can help you. But Rashna, doing that transition on that road is so difficult, because here you are in a tribe that supports you in a way that you were always expected to be, but when you grow, they don't have the capability. You find yourself alone, and it feels, oh my God, this is the end of this is the end. What do I do? So what you have to do is you have to rely on your own self. You have to be your own cheerleader. Here you are, there is no support. You have to keep pushing through. It is like a dark tunnel. We go through that, right? We were out. This is how I saw. I was outside the tunnel. I had my friends, I had my family, I had everybody who wanted and knew me for who I was. And here I want to do the expansion. I have to go through the dark tunnel. And in the tunnel, there's no one. There's no one there. I have to do it all by myself. And that's exactly what I had to do. And as I kept going, there was light from other people in the world who were doing the same work, who have done it, who were ahead. And with that light, I could find my own light. It's like an ignition, like I call my coaching venture Ignite Your Soul with Rishika, because that's how I felt. Somebody else, the people who had done the work, ignited my soul. And now I'm going to ignite other people's soul who are behind in that dark tunnel, who are coming towards the light. And we keep doing that because without the darkness, we cannot have light. It's both. You don't have darkness, you can't have light. You need light to see in the darkness. It goes hand in hand. That was something that I had to learn, embrace. And that's the biggest lesson of my life. It goes hand in hand, lightness and darkness. I'm both.
mm, mm,
Everybody's the same. It's about us accepting that.
mm. So well said, Rishika. I am in awe right now as I'm listening to you, and I can actually see that what was happening when I was on my healing journey, that people kept saying that, oh, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. But hey, in the tunnel, there is no one. And I don't see the light right now. People keep telling me that it is not going to be same, but what does it takes me to be on the other side? That no one knew, as in the people that I was with in my tribe. But then there was a time it changed. So that leads me to the next question. How did their healing process look like? Any specific therapies, techniques that helped you in your journey?
Oh, healing journey is was will be very difficult. Initially, when
Mm,
we have to go to home where we started from,
mm,
that is as a child when we were born as love, with unconditional love
mm,
from universe, and then the condition happened to us along the way. The society happened, the tribe happened, our people around us happened. I don't know, everything else that is around us happened to us, and then we became who we became. And then until we decided, hey, enough is enough, I want to make the journey back home to love. The tools I had, because I said I want to work on me, and I said I want to go into life coaching, I want to help other people, and then I found myself,
mm,
was through life coaching. I had amazing coaches where I went to study, which is ICI.
mm,
That was my beginning of my journey to find beautiful people in the world. To me, when I ended there, I was like, oh my God, I'm in heaven. This feels like I've never been to heaven, but Hey, the way people talk about heaven, to me, that was heaven.
Yeah.
Here,
Yes.
there were people beautiful, and it felt like I'm in a beautiful dream or something. It was absolutely amazing talking to people with simple things and people supporting each other, the amount of love people shared and the support. How I felt seen the very next day when I went to one of the webinars, I was asked the question, how do you feel? I said, I feel like a human being. Why do I feel like that? Because I was heard. I
Yeah.
was seen for who I was. I was understood for what I was going through.
Mm.
And there is so many people in the world who need that. This is a basic human need. Yet we don't get it. Why do we don't get it? Because there's so much conditioning. There's so much of layers that we form. We're not able to see the basic human being who's crying for help.
Mm. Mm. Wow. That is incredible. That is incredible. You and I are both from the same school, International Coaching Institute. And likewise, what you said that for the very first time I was seeing, I remember one of the coaches said, how are you celebrating? I said, who celebrates enrolling into a course? Don't stop. And I'm like, what are they talking? Who are these people? And it's not that they just left it there. They asked me on my next call, how did you celebrate? I'm like, who are you? Get out. And that was the passion, compassion, love they carry. That was beautiful. So, yes, I absolutely agree with you. We felt human, that somebody sees us just as what we are, who we are, and not the mask that we wear. Yeah, totally. So, do you have a coach? Did you take coaching from a specific coach, or were you told about different therapies or techniques?
I tried a lot of different things. I also had counseling done as well, which was separate from coaching. That that helped me, but wasn't that helpful. It was taking me longer to get where I wanted to, because with counseling, I did not feel so much of emotional safety because they hold the container, but they're not able to give you so much of that human connection. There's still a bit of a professional barrier where they're like, we have the tools, we hear, we feel sorry for you, but there really isn't a connection. There is a barrier that, oh, I am crossing some line, or I would be, this is not the protocol, or but hang on, human connection doesn't need any conditioning. You just need to show up for a human being and hold them the way they are. So
Mm,
it wasn't working for me because I needed the deep work. I needed to be really being connected to a human being who can hold that big container for me to unpack my emotions
mm, mm.
and the layers and the amount of work. I worked with so many different coaches in the institute,
Yeah.
and there were timeline therapies, there was hypnotherapy, there was childhood inner child work,
Mm.
which I did some with you too. It was an absolute honor.
Yeah, same here. You have no idea. I have loved it, every bit of it. Yeah, yeah, wonderful. And I love it. And you know what? Every time I have seen you from the day that we connected, you have only been glowing and you've all only been growing. When I say glowing, I also mean growing. And it is amazing the kind of efforts that you put in. You show up for yourself, you show up for your clients, you show up for people, and you don't stop. And this is a beautiful thing that I want our listeners to know. Consistency is something, whether it shows you any kind of improvement or not to you, but others will see it. I have seen it in you. I have seen you growing into such a beautiful person, which you were always were. But seeing it, you seeing it yourself has been truly transformational. So I really love that about you. So
Thank you.
another question, is there any specific thing that you do it on a daily basis? For example, mindfulness, meditation, self reflection, journaling, any particular technique that you use it on a daily basis?
Yeah, oh, that's a great question because it took a while to discover what worked for me and what is that that really helps me recollect myself, reconnect,
Mm,
and come back home to me?
mm,
Because there's so much noise in the world, right? We do so much on daily basis that it's so easy to forget ourselves.
mm,
So I was trying meditation for a very long time, and finally the meditation clicked. Oh,
mm.
it's amazing. Years of trying to do meditation with a noisy brain.
Yeah.
Try it, guys. After healing yourself, you can do meditation. So I do meditation.
There's no
Sorry, you go on and I'll tell you more.
God. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a marathon in your own brain. How can you meditate? Because you're suppressing, all my life I learned to suppress, run away from my thoughts. So
Mm,
what's going to happen? When I did all the healing and understood the studying and learning and hanging out with all these amazing people, learning what they're doing,
mm,
figured out how is meditation done?
mm,
How is what it means to be feel secure inside you? What does inner world mean?
mm,
So meditation is something that took me a while, and I got there. I
mm.
do writing as well, which was inspired by you.
Yeah, thank you.
I
I
don't
love
do it every day because it's that's also something that doesn't come naturally, but it is a very beautiful tool. It's something that I need to work on, like meditation. I had to work on meditation. I do grounding. So I just find a grass ground and just lay there watching the sky, the sun. This was taught to me by a great friend
it.
that I learned so much with, so much about life with. I'll always be grateful to him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, love that.
And yeah, I learned, I think this was on my own. I learned to hug trees. I discovered it myself, but then later I found out there is a thing called hugging trees
Yeah,
that
there is.
helps.
Yes.
I love hugging trees. I'll just go around lunchtime finding trees and people look at me. And yesterday, just yesterday, I was like in front of my house, there's a big patch of ground, like a park.
Yeah.
I just went there and I just lied in the grass and people walking by. So I'm just connecting with Mother Earth and connecting with the sky and whatever. But yeah, that's how I do it. I connect in the nature.
Yeah.
Once I watch bugs. I love watching bugs and ants and whatever. That reminds me that Earth is so beautiful. There's so much more than just human beings.
Yeah.
Co- Everything's so controlled. Dogs on leashes, you cats in the house, locked up. And I have a budgie who flies around and leaves presents everywhere. But yeah, we live in a world where everything is so controlled.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
I
I have to go, I have to go connect with the nature.
Yeah, love that. And I've seen a lot of your videos where you absolutely encourage people to go ground themselves. And I've seen several videos where you talk about how grounding helps and how nature brings joy in your inside in your inner world. And I absolutely agree. Grounding does make wonders. And I love the fact where there is a gold nugget that you just shared. I call it a gold nugget that you just shared that meditation to begin with is not easy because unless and until you have heard what is going on in your head, when you hear them, you see them, you validate the feelings that you have had in your head, that goes away. And that's when the meditation starts. And that's how deeply you connect with yourself. So, yes, it takes time. It's not easy, but that's okay. Start with 30 seconds, start with 1 minute. And it's beautiful the way you just put it across. Lots going on, and now it's peaceful and it's awesome to connect. Thank you. And I'm sure our listeners would be grateful that, oh, okay, that means I'm not wrong if I say I can't do meditation because there are a lot of things going on.
Oh,
That's
yeah, absolutely. I was like that. It's like, what do you talk about meditation? It just doesn't happen. Meditation doesn't, this is how it's, meditation doesn't happen for me. And today I'm like, oh my God, meditation. It's so beautiful. You just sit there still and just listen to your own self and connect with universe, nature and everything. It's just like a big oneness that happens inside us.
mm,
And the grounding, it just calms my nervous system down and you feel, yeah, it's amazing. You got to keep doing it to get there, but to go there, to get there, you need to silence inside. There's so much noise outside and inside. You can't reach there.
Mm.
It's so difficult to reach there. That's the work that I do, we do as life coaches, is to help listen to that noise, listen to those parts that we've been suppressing so that we can come to the parts where we want to be grounded. We want to be able to meditate. We want to be able to just laugh without holding ourselves back. We want to cry without thinking, I'm going to look bad, or what is that person going to think? Just being able to express, fully express ourselves. That's who I am at the moment. That's my mission, to help women fully express themselves.
Yeah.
Whoever you want to be, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to wear. Because all my life I've been told how to live my life. So learn to fully express. That's what I do.
I love that because that leads me to my next question. That we spoke about how was the beginning of your healing journey looked like, and what were the processes that you did, and how was your support system, and how meditation and other techniques that you do on a daily basis help you. And that goes to show that there is a lot of work that you're doing it. Now, I
Yeah.
wanted to know that after the work that you have done, I know you've already answered that in the beginning for your child, but how did it transform for you? What do you feel for yourself? What are the things that you think that you are empowering others, but you are empowering yourself first? How does that look like in your daily life now?
Wow. How does it look like? Wow. I feel so much love. I
Yeah.
feel so much contentment. There's nothing that I want to chase. I do want to do things, create things, and give back in the world. I want to be part of that movement that gives back to humanity. I want to do all sorts of stuff.
Mm.
I want to take coaching back home to Fiji. I want to have an animal shelter for animals. I have so much too. But that does not mean chasing anything. I'm learning, or I am being, just being me.
Mm. Mm.
And letting universe guide me. So whatever comes my way, I go through it, good or bad.
Yes. Wow.
Good or bad. I want to emphasize that very powerfully. Good or bad, I'm appreciating everything. I don't hold grudge for anybody anymore. I'm coming with love. It's all welcome, because when I think of it as, when we people say when it's bad or when we say it's dark, it's actually meant to stretch me and grow me.
Mm.
When it's light, when it's good, it's meant to push me. So whatever I'm doing, I'm always evolving.
Mm.
So everyday ritual looks like getting up, dancing. I start dancing.
Love that. Love
Or
that.
sometimes I get up and I listen to affirmations. It depends on the state of mind,
Mm.
how much of energy was depleted the last day. It depends on the energy levels.
Mm.
So it's meditation, affirmations. It can look like just dancing to find myself.
Yeah.
Also talking, do self-talk,
Yeah.
looking at myself in the mirror. This is something that I learned from the podcast of Mel Robbins Dance. And there's a lot of information out there on social media about self-talk. So
Yeah.
looking in the mirror and talking to myself
Yeah.
and saying, you got this. You're doing so well. You're the best. Literally, you're the best. You're the love of my life. And I'm here for you. Whatever you need, I'm gonna get you that. I'm gonna do that for you. It's me and understanding that I am a soul. I'm a soul on a human journey. And whatever my human limitations are, capabilities are, who is beyond that. I
Yeah.
am beyond that. I'm a soul. I'm a soul on a journey.
Yeah.
And then just going and doing what I need to do. There's gym 4 days a week
Yeah. Wow.
that I go with my son. We sit and do some reflection sometimes. Sometimes he's unable to do because
Mm.
he's young. He gets a lot of pressure from the world. He
Mm.
goes to school. We don't have a perfect life. I don't have a perfect day all the time. Sometimes I feel stressed out too because there's a lot of stuff to do. But I learned that stress is going to be there, but how much of it I'm going to let myself be absorbed. So I just drop everything, just
Mm.
go sit in the sun.
Mm. Love
It's
that. Love that. There are so many gold nuggets that you have given in just this piece. How does embracing self love for you means? The first thing that you said it. I'm embracing both things, good or bad. And I want to insist on bad because all of it is me. And that is beautiful because not every day can be a good day, but we can create that ripple in a bad day. That okay. I love that and I'm doing it. I remember when you said for Mel Robbins, self-talk is so important. Stand in front of the mirror and say, what is it that you can you say I love you to yourself? And that was huge for me. And when I stood and I said, oh, in my culture, I was told in the morning when you get up, don't even look at yourself, otherwise your day will be ruined. And that was something was in my head when I was little. And I never looked at me with that love and passion. And now I get up and I say, "Mwah, I just love you, Rachna. You are going to have a good day." And I love that you touched on that gold nugget. That yes, self talk is so important with the highest respect. It's non negotiable. So thank you for doing that. And thank you for inspiring all of us right now. So that is beautiful. And affirmations is another one big thing that I find that another gold nugget you give. That's one another way of embracing self-love. That you got this, you can do it. So I love that. Absolutely love that. Thank you for sharing.
You're
I
welcome.
wanted to check with you. I think I know it, but I still want to ask you for our listeners. Do you celebrate your daily wins and daily losses? Because there are few things which goes right, there are few things which do not go right. Do you celebrate both?
Yeah. Absolutely, it's necessary because that reminds me, that grounds me.
Mm,
So when I have a win, I know I did my best and I achieved it, what I was going for. This is meant for me. This means I go beyond. And when I don't, it means it's a redirection. It's
mm,
a redirection, or I need to look at it better, or this is not meant for me, or this was a lesson. What am I taking away from it? It's so important to do that.
mm,
That is when we say, when where I grew up and everything was like, oh, you failed, so you're not doing good enough. That's the culture that we come from, and we learn that.
mm,
That's what the school system teaches us: fail, pass, grades.
mm,
Hey, you don't see that not everybody is the same. Not everybody wants to be
mm,
this particular business person or this particular artist or this particular this. Everybody's different. So how is that grades going to validate you that you are that you're a failure, you're a grade student or whatever it is? So I believe that celebrating yourself for both and understanding what happened is so important, because when we don't know ourselves. We let the outside define us. We
mm,
are going outside to achieve things. Like for my win is outside me. When I fail, it's all outside me, because inside me there is no win, no fail. It's just me being me.
mm,
So it's so important to do that, to celebrate yourself, so you can come back to your inside and say whatever I did is okay. But
mm,
when you don't do that, you are actually abandoning pieces of you and saying, not good, not this. So it's a way of coming back, reflecting, going inwards again when we do that.
that is powerful because I have always felt that and I keep telling it to my people and especially to my daughter, celebrate more than your wins because then you will always be ready to risk. And which means I'm not saying stand in front of the car which is going to hit you. I'm not saying that, but all I'm saying that when you celebrate your mistakes or your losses or your failures, all of this means only feedback, and feedback only means that there is one other way that you can do better. There is another way to things do better in a much better way. And what you said right now, that is so very important. We are only humans and we are allowed to do that. And if I don't appreciate the part that has not done well, I don't want to abandon that part of me because that is all of me. What a beautiful gold nugget you gave it at that point in time. So thank you. Thank you for sharing. I have one question for you, and that is specifically for people, for someone who have been currently or who have been or who are currently battling with anxiety and depression. What advice would you give it to them?
Okay. For me, Anxiety and depression was where I couldn't express. Depression is you can't express. It means you realize the truth, but you aren't able to express it because there's no one who is ready to receive it, who's ready to receive the truth of you. That what are you feeling? That you don't want to do the same cycle, the same routine because it's not achieving anything. Or you have no one to listen to. So you have to find your person or people, profession or professionals, whatever it might look like for you, people who have the capability to hear you, to see you, to understand you, because your need is to be understood at that time. And anxiety is something that I had from age of 3, where I suffered abandonment, where I detached from a loved one. And I didn't even know I had anxiety. What was anxiety? It was this racing of my heart, and I could hear it in my ears. And I get this paralyzing feeling where I can't even speak. There's traumas in the throat, there's traumas in the body, you feel shivers. There's all different types of anxiety and depression. What it is just that you're not allowed to be who you are. So what we need in that time, in that moment, is people who would not take advantage of us and listen to us, people who would not reject us, people who would not tell us to suppress ourselves, people who would accept and hear us. That's what a person with anxiety or depression will need. Emotional safety, a place where someone is feeling emotionally safe, that I can speak up and say, hey, this happened to me in my childhood, or this happened to me, this. And those pain, those things that you want to express can come out. Once you release those things and things that are not serving you, is when you start getting better and you start connecting with yourself. Anxiety and depression is that, where you're not allowed to express yourself.
Wow.
To me.
Yeah, of course, and beautiful. And I do not know if you would agree with this. There is a movie called Inside Out too. And it anxiety is someone who takes over Riley's life for some time, and the joy who basically takes care of Riley's emotions and always taking care of all other parts of Joy and say, it's okay, we can do it. And at one point of time, Joy says that maybe that's how it is when you grow up. You feel less joy. And that's okay too. Because all is welcome. These are all our parts. Anxiety is just one way of telling there is something you need to sit and just listen what is going on. Thank you so much, Rashika, for touching on because there are so many people who are currently battling with this and they don't know what to do. And if they hear someone like us, like you specifically, because you have been through and from anxiety to depression and embracing self love, like you have done, it goes to show that it is possible. Yes, it is possible, and the life looks so much more beautiful. It is still tough, but we make it beautiful. It is still dark, but we create light in that. And I
Yep.
absolutely love that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this journey has been so long. I come from DV home. I've been into mentally abusive relationships, to being a single mother for 14 years, to finding out that I had depression for so long in my life.
Mm.
And coming on the other side, having depression, lost someone, and learning to love myself again, and learning what self-love is, and making a balance, like making a career, helping other people. This is all such a long journey where you come from the dark to the light, but the darkness is what causes you to be light on the light side. It's both a part of our journey. And I feel that every human being goes through this, whether you tell it to the world, you celebrate it, you suppress it, we all go through it. I'm going to be speaking out my truth and tearing the word, because there's so many people who need to hear this. There's so many people who commit suicide, so many people who don't want to live, so many people with mental health issues. There's so many people who are denied to live a proper healthy life.
Mm.
So I don't see the need to suppress something to look, create a fake image and say, this is what the society is supposed to be. It's all matter of good stuff.
Mm, so true.
How far are we going? Where are our children going? Where is the society going?
Mm,
I'd rather be speaking the truth than so
mm,
anxiety and depression is part of everybody's lifestyle. It's just we have to accept it and we have to share it and we have to learn from each other.
Love that. Love that. And it is possible. It is possible because we both are examples of that. It is possible. And there are so many people out there. It is possible. We just have to be present to our self love. And you can learn. Everybody can learn it. And it is possible. Yeah. Wow. Beautifully said. Are there any specific books or resources that you found particularly helpful that you may want to share with our listeners?
Books or resources. I was big on podcasts.
Mhm.
That's what I did. Books. I had read a couple of books. I just can't remember.
That's
But I
what.
wasn't big on books. I was big on podcasts. But I'm now a big fan of coaching,
Yeah.
where it's transformed my entire life.
Mm,
Being around life coaches and being coached by being coached for my own self and then helping other people
mm,
that give and create the change has been big. Yeah, podcasts, you can, I heard it for years. Reading, you can, yeah, it is good, but sometimes it's listening, reading, it's time to take charge, change, and take actions.
mm,
Because reading is for our mindset. Actions are actually to prove to ourselves we can do things.
mm. Love.
And yeah, and receiving help and putting our hand up and saying, "Hey, I need help." Vulnerability is big. I show my vulnerability like everywhere. I don't care if I look silly. I really don't care. This is who I am. This is what I need. I am not going to shy away and hide myself. So I am always putting my hand up and says, I'm vulnerable. I need this. I don't know this. I
Mm,
think that's important too.
yeah.
And find
Yeah.
the people who light you up, who light your soul, who help you grow.
Mm,
Because if you are staying around people who are pulling you down, who are not letting you shine, or you're not letting them shine, you're not growing, we're not aligning. You need that sparkle from your soul.
yeah. Totally.
Whatever that looks like, podcast, books, I don't know.
Love that. Some time ago, I actually made this video that you're a sum of five people. And you summarize it so beautifully that someone who sparks you, shines you, champions you, is there to make way for you and is contributing your growth. Find those people because they are also looking for you. They're seeking you everywhere. Wow, what a beautiful thing to say. Thank you. Thank you again for sharing that. Any last thoughts, Rishika? Anyone who is out there who may be just waiting to listen to one thing that you may have to say today? Any last thoughts that you like to share with us?
This is a big one that I found very challenging. Is when you want better for yourself, when you know you deserve better and you feel fear, you feel like it's difficult to move on, and you feel like the world is against you, you feel like there's no one holding your hand or supporting you. You have to at that point find that courage in you that you're going to be your own cheerleader.
Ah,
That was the biggest lesson in this to create the change, because when you're not your own cheerleader you cannot go from that point, because this part of life where there will be no one is the part that you have to come from on the bridge.
mm,
That is the most challenging part, to be alone and believing in what you believe in, because no one's going to believe in you at that point. You have to be your own cheerleader. This was my biggest lesson. That was my biggest hurdle to come on the other side. There'll always be challenges, but this is the biggest one, where you have to be your own cheerleader.
absolutely love that. Thank you so much. This was beautiful. Be your cheerleader, be your champion because you deserve it. Thank you so much, Rishika. It was absolutely amazing to have you on this podcast, and I'm sure our listeners would love you. Thank you so much. And I would definitely share your socials in our script when I post this podcast. And I invite people to be in touch with Rishika, subscribe, follow her because she has so much to offer. And I absolutely loved our interaction today. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the gift of your time. I'm really grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Rashna. Thank you so much for having me. And it was an absolute delight because I let my soul out in here and I just opened up and shared whatever was there for me to share.
Yeah, love that. Thank you. Thank you again. And this is
Thanks.
for my listeners, and this is for Rashika's listeners as well. Remember, no matter where you are on your journey, self love is always within reach. It is a continuous journey, not a destination. And I hope we see you on the other side. Follow us, and remember, we have to touch, move, and inspire 1 million people. Subscribe to the channel, follow us, and follow Rashika. See you on the other side. Have fun. Let's have music on.
Let's dance.